So just a quick video for anyone who's looking to do a little bit of practice while I'm away. Just bring yourself to a mat space or anywhere in your house that's comfortable. You can sit cross-legged or otherwise. Hi. So I always begin my practice just by really trying to come into my own body, going into that place of self-observation, starting to listen into what your heartbeat is perhaps doing, observing how your breath moves freely in and out of your body. So just notice the quality of your breath. Is it cool? Is it warm? And as always, because this is a prenatal recording, place your hands upon your belly and connect just to these little ones. These are the reason that you come to your mat space, so just acknowledge their presence in your practice as well. Deep breathing, connecting the both of you together. You can place your hands on your heart as well. My practice on the day I recorded this was all about this chakra, so I was very in touch with how I was feeling in my heart this day. So I was really going in and accepting where I was in this moment. And then as always, I'm not going to talk you through a Sami-Vriti breath, that equal breath. You're going to equalise your breath for a count of 4 in and 4 out. Just find it in your own time. So don't rush your breath through, don't focus on the out breath too much. It should be a fluid breath, soften the edges, and then just start to get some movement in your neck. So those little half pendulum swings, left and right, moving as slowly as you can. You can begin to move your head left and right, and then drop the head down all the way as far as it can go, and then look up, but not too far back. Don't choke yourself, you'll break the fluid motion of the breath. We're starting the movement of the spine with some seated cat curls. So just that undulation of your spine. So I like to inhale up to a neutral spine, exhale back to a curved spine, inhale up straight, and then exhale forward. If you've been in class for a long time, you'll understand how the breath likes to move with the body in this way. So again, more little rotations all the way around. Gentle movement. Take what you need, leave the rest behind. If you're lower back, perhaps this week, this is the one that really helps me understand where I need to get some space and strength. I've taken my arms out to the side to work on my shoulder mobility, so all we're doing is forward rotations and back rotations there. Seated Samastitihi. Get some space between your ribs and your hips. That's always a good teaching point. Inhale all the way up, interlace, and push the fingertips all the way up as high as you can. A little bit left, and then a little bit right. Grab a hold of the wrist if you want to go further left, and then further right. Take it all the way back up again. Draw the elbows behind the ears, pop the hands down behind the head. You're going to butterfly closed, as we know, then butterfly open to hyperextension if you want. Get space in the ribs, left and then right again. Take those hands all the way up and then draw them down in front of the heart center, really arching out the back. Inhale to heart, exhale, push all the way forward again. Take the arms open the heart space, inward rounded rotations, interlace the fingers, push back, really open the chest. Then exhale, forward folds. You don't have to come too far, but we are just opening the chest. You guys might not want to come as far forward as that at all. Rotate the shoulders. Rotate the wrists, those little funky movements with the wrist, wiggle, 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 and then flick off the hands. Seated Samastitihi, inhale all the way up, exhale all the way down through all the chakras towards the root. Inhale all the way up, doesn't matter what side you go to, take yourself all the way across, long and straight. So we want a nice long line between the hip, the underarm, the elbow, the wrist and the hand. You can look up towards the hands, but if you feel that's cranking your neck, just drop the gaze point and you can look down. It just depends on what's going on your neck in the day that you're practicing. We're going to take some nice fluid motions forward and up, and then forward and up. Again, if you're feeling tight lower back or either down through the sides of your core, you might feel it here. Inhale both arms all the way up, out through the mouth, a big out. Wrap your arms, eagle arms. So we know this one again. We lift up through the wrists and the elbows, we drop the head down and we tuck the pelvis under and we breathe as much space as we possibly can into our backs. Unbind, really push into the hands. Keep offering them up towards prayer. Go has just been so special. You're going to take a hand in front of the knee. You're going to take your other hand behind, drop the shoulder back, rotate and peek over the shoulder. And I believe I was staring at a chipmunk at this time, which kept on running up and down that palm tree. He was super cute. Find your breath though. Stop being distracted by chipmunks. Draw it to the centre, core all the way down, sit tall, then rotate all the way around in a circle in one direction, and then all the way around in a circle in the other direction. Sit tall, ribs and hips, fingertips, seated Samastitihi. Inhale all the way up, exhale all the way down through that centre line. Push those prayer hands all the way up, open them up, take it to the other side, place the hands down and again lean all the way across. You can look up towards the hand, but again if that's affecting your neck, which it does do on this side of my body, look down towards earth. Draw the breath in. We go for 5 breaths. You can do a 3-breath practice, but just make sure that your breath is as long as you possibly can. Take those fluid motions all the way up and round, then all the way down, up and round again. Sit tall, inhale, out through the mouth. Wrap arms, big eagle arms, all the way up. You can tuck the pelvis under, drop the head down, really breathe into the back space, get as much space as you possibly can, and just really enjoy that breath. Release the bind, drop it down in front of the face, push the hands into a prayer position. I think I took a moment here to realise where I was, and then we rolled the shoulder and peeked back. And this time I was peeking towards Ganesha. We celebrated Diwali here in Goa, and we went for puja and we put offerings to Ganesha, which was, he's my favourite deity, he's a remover of obstacles, and I just took a moment to stay that and breathe as I was here. Again, returning to centre, take your little seated cat curls all the way down, get your movement round, really gently round in a circle in one direction, then round in a circle in the other. When you're ready, you're just going to swing onto your hip, place your toes behind you, and bring yourself to that kneeling position. Make sure you're comfortable. I always have to retuck my pelvis under, so it's quite a good thing if you've got lower back pain to realise that we have to create space. You'll notice I'm wiggling my fingers forward, keeping the pelvis tucked, trying to get more space. Tuck, 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 tuck. A little subtle lean back, spider crawl forward, and then more of a little subtle lean back, just to create space in that lumbar curve. Mine gets really tight. I know quite a lot of people in class are also suffering from that ailment as well, so this is where we go from here. Then it's toes together, knees wide. You can take your bump in between your knees and just surrender that down to earth. If you're further on in your pregnancy, you can elevate your head and your hands. But what you want to do is have that lovely primary curve all the way from the base of the neck, all the way to the base of the spine. We do our energetic breathing at the minute, so we just take that pot of energy like warm water and just pour it from the base of the spine up over the top of the head on the inhale, and we wash it down on the exhale. So as many of those as you like. You can always pause the video. So just following what I'm doing here, we're just taking an arm, creating a bind behind the shoulder blades, tucking the pelvis under, take your gaze point up and really breathe into that right side of your body. So it's a little bit tricky to see, but we know what we're doing here. We want as much space in the right side of the ribs as we can. If you sit at a desk all day or you use a computer, it's the right side that can sometimes get congested. Arms all the way round, place and reach. Left side is always trickier to get a hold of, we know this. So what we do is we create bind where we can, we tuck the pelvis and we breathe as much space as we can into the left side. Release the bind, grab your opposite elbow, try and keep the pelvis tucked if you can, sometimes it's tricky, and you're just taking your head all the way over to one side, then all the way over to the other side. And then you're dropping your ear down to one shoulder, and then your ear down to the other shoulder. Do that little funky dance movement with your wrists, flick them off, because we're going to spend some time on them. So we are coming to all fours. Really common theme that I have in class. When you're on all fours, make sure your hips are, squared off with your knees, your wrists are underneath your shoulders. And I'm just starting to get a little bit of movement here. So we call these rolling cat curls. We run the nose along the mat space, we chaturanga push up, and then we rotate into the shoulders. So this is instead of an up dog transition. So it's pelvis under, spine up, bottoms all the way down towards the heels, run the nose along the mat space, push up for strength, and then roll the shoulders. Bots under, spine up, all the way down to heels, run the nose along, push up and roll. If you want, you can do that a lot slower than I've shown you here. I've walked my hands out a little bit more just for stability, and I'm starting to rotate my pelvis. Little circles to big circles, going bigger and bigger and bigger. And then always take it in the opposite direction as well. You're taking yourself into your first down dog of the day, and you'll notice that I've actually taken my down dog a little bit short here. But we want for the bottoms to be going all the way back towards the sky, if you like, and then sink into your underarms, bend the knees. We don't want to go for really straight legs in our down dog, spine over hamstrings every single day of the week, but take long breaths here. I take a little curtsy left and right just to work into ITB band left and right. Again, these are things we've done in class. If you're unsure, just miss them out, it's fine. But we bend and we curtsy and we press. As you know, very gently we drop our knees down to the ground without, no banging your knees on a hard surface, and just take yourself back to a child's pose. I brought my hands behind my head in a prayer position just to open up my shoulders just a little bit more, just to earth myself out. The next place we're coming to is on all fours to take cat curls as standard. With my super mobile spine, I have to ensure that my pelvis remains tucked under. But we inhale from a neutral all the way up to that big angry cat position. I am super mobile through my spine, so you don't have to go up that high, but it's all the way up. and then back to neutral. Never do that thing where you allow your belly just to fall through and you arch through your back. So we just take a couple of them, and I like to move them just to try and get more space in my lower back. We're popping strength in there. The teaching point is tuck the pelvis under, lift the opposite leg. I've shown you an outward rotation, which I don't want you to do, and I'm going to show you that twice. Don't do that. Keep the toe tucked under and reach that forward for me. Long deep breaths here, as many as feel good, but make sure you do the same to the opposite side. So I always do a little cat curl in here as well, just to release, and then extend, tuck, forward, pelvis come on, opposite side, keep the toe tucked in, do not turn it to the side. There you go, that's your final position there. Long deep breaths. Little wiggle waggle for me left and right. Bring yourself into down dog. Again, soften through the knees. My dog is quite short here. I've gone for a bit of a Yorkshire Terrier in my down dog. But what we do is we try and make it as comfortable as we possibly can. Don't challenge yourself too much. I've taken my feet really wide on the mat space here. And you'll notice I'm going to start to walk my hands back towards my feet, and we're going into a low garland squat. So low yogic squat, dropping the bottom down as much as you can, push into the knees and lift the chin and the chest up. You may find that your heels are off the ground, that's absolutely fine. We're just taking some breaths here to open the pelvis slightly. You'll notice that we're not allowed to come up like strippers. We have to press the heels, come up with the chin, push through all the way up. Standing tall, tuck the pelvis under, interlace the fingers, open up the chest, open up that heart space, big deep breaths in. And then stepping the feet out to stand. Make sure you're comfortable in your stance. It was really hot on the day that I was recording. And the first thing I like to do is just again bring myself to my mat space just with a little bit of breath work. So I just gathered myself all the way up through my chakras, drew it all the way back down, and we do this every week. Give your belly a rub. Inhale all the way up. Exhale all the way down through your center line. Turn the hands into your little womb mudra. Give your babies a little rub. Inhale all the way up. Exhale down through the center line. Take yourself into that little womb mudra. And give your bellies a little rub. Last one. All the way down. And then place the hands on for some belly breathing. So really connect to earth, connect to your own heart, connect to your babies. And it's just long, deep breaths. You can close your eyes down and just enjoy. So if anything unpredictable, I always start with Trikonasana. So you're taking Trikonasana, you don't have to come down too far. You can go shin, you can go floor if you're feeling fancy, or you can go further up than that. But you'll notice the lines, you want long straight lines between your hips, your underarms, and then the opposite direction between both wrists. You can look up towards your top wrist, but again, if it's affecting your neck, just relax it down and drop it down. You can take as many breaths as you like here. You're coming straight into a warrior two, relaxing the shoulders down. Fingers like swords is one of the favourite verbal adjustments that I like to give. It's one that was given to me. It makes me feel quite powerful as a woman. And then we're just going to flow that through all the way up on an inhale, all the way out, and then all the way over on an exhale, looking up. Long breaths. Back to center. Inhale up. And this time sweep it down. Open the shoulder in a slightly different way. Reaching up, look fingertips. Back to two. down to open the shoulder in a slightly different way, and then turn into peak all the way up to get that angle just right. You can take a couple of breaths here. This should feel quite powerful through the legs, but trust your legs, they're going to work for you if you carry the breath through them. Bring yourself all the way back up, and then pop your hands onto your waist and direct your hips and your shoulders towards the short edge of your mat. Again, you'll notice I always have to tuck my pelvis under, my lower back is a little bit knotty, my knee is at a 90-degree angle, and I don't like a back bend for prenatal students. You'll notice my back looks quite bent, it's just how it's built, but you want to go straight, lift a crown off the top of your head and just hold that crown up in the air. You can look up towards your crown or relax your gaze point forward, again distracted by chipmunks. Sweep all the way up and open with the breath to open up all the way up and out, interlace. Push the hands back, really open the heart center, and you're only traveling halfway down. No chin to shin. Prenatally, you're going to look towards your big toe, lengthen from the base of the spine to the crown of the head, and do not snap back into your hamstrings, so no hyperextension through that front knee. From this point, you're just going to inhale the arms all the way up and exhale down into a high squat. I like to keep it quite buoyant. We have a little bounce here. And we don't really want to be holding the pelvic floor too tightly when we're pregnant. We want things to soften down. So you'll notice I always have a little wiggle off. No squat sequence because it was too hot on the roof that I was practicing on. But just roll your shoulders and then walk the hands down the legs. Make contact with the floor. You might have to take your hands quite far in front of you to find the floor or put a little bolster. But it is just a really gentle forward fold, bend the knees, you can drop the pelvis down a little bit, you can start to sway the shoulders, sway the bottoms, give your head a little wobble, that should feel quite good. Drawing it all back in, we take that to a low squat. Please resist the urge to flip your head back. Instead, roll up, roll the shoulders, fix your hair, all that good stuff, and just waggle it off. Taking all of that routine to the second side, reach and place for Trikonasana. Shin, floor, block, support, whatever feels good for you. Again, looking up towards that top thumb or relaxing the gaze point down towards the neck. There's no point in being rigid in the neck if it's not feeling it. So be strong through your legs, let the ground support you, let your breath move you. And then we're coming up to a really nice warrior two, relax the shoulders down, fingers like swords. Start to flow your breath all the way up, back to two, place, reach, and then extend. And then all the way to two, inhale up, take it through, move the shoulder in a different direction by taking it down, and extend. And then inhale all the way up, take it back out. Place, and that big sweep down, really open the shoulder, push through the fingertips, turn the rib cage out, relax the neck, breathe. Placing the hands on the hips again. This time you're turning your hips and your shoulders to face the same direction. You might have to adjust your back foot to make sure your foundations are correct for your body on that side. Your knee should be 90 degrees, no more, no less. Your stance is as short as you require your practice to be heavy on that day. So big long lunges if you're feeling fancy, shorter ones if you want to conserve some energy. So again, we're coming into warrior one. Take the crown off the top of your head, reach tall. Sweep it forward for a nice bit of fluid flow. Take the arms down to the side on an exhale, bind. Inhale, lengthen up. And then drive the bottom back, the crown of the head forward, and look towards your big toe. No need to go any further than a tabletop position. Inhaling up, rotating through the feet, get comfortable. Take the arms all the way up and then find your high squat position. Be buoyant. Breathe into your belly. Breathe into your heart. Breathe into your heart and your belly. Connect your heart with your baby's heart. Gentle pulses, trust your feet, push all the way up. Walk the hands down the legs, walk out, walk out, walk out. Trust your hands and feet, equal balance through all 4 points, and you can have a little bit more movement on your second time forward. Again, walking back, find that squat, place the hands, do not flick your head back, instead roll up, push heels, come back to stand, wiggle off. Stepping towards the back of your mat space, tippy toe up, really fold the feet as you take yourself up. Hold your balance point and then sit low as you possibly can in your low garland squat. So you'll notice how my bottom is dropped quite low. I could probably be doing with taking my chin up just a little bit further. Take yourself so that you're on your knees, wide, toes together, walk the hands out, make space for your babies, and then just relax that down to your mat space. If you've got a low back ache or issues going on, try and keep the bottom in contact with the heels and the pelvis slightly tucked under. You might feel that quite beneficial. So just make sure that after you do this little bit of homework, your prenatal Goa flow, that you do just take a little bit of time just for yourself to sit in silence, whether that's counting your breath or really acknowledging how your heartbeat feels in the moment, or connecting with your babies. Just make sure you take some time. As I was recording, I was just reflecting on the journey that I've taken over the last 20 or so years, which have really taken me here. I was really emotional, I was really connected to my heart. And when I placed my hands on my womb space, on Hara, obviously I've not got a baby in there to acknowledge, but it was more about, really acknowledging my own femininity and really enjoying being a woman and just feeling quite strong about where I am in my life. And I really do have everyone who comes to class to thank for that as well. We really have created something really beautiful with all the women that come, so I hope you feel that as well. And then I think at this point I just realised that Ganesha was sitting behind me, and he keeps popping up to remove all my obstacles, to keep me going. So thank you.